What is up, everyone? Welcome to the RoV Pro League week number 7. This, of course, is the unofficial, the very unofficial English broadcast of said league. I am D2. With me is the source. And the source we have on our hands number 1 versus number 2. Well, technically number 3, but they haven't played a match yet. We have Alpha Red versus Bazaar Gaming up first here.
Yeah, and with Red kind of sitting at the top and Bazaar Gaming having not played that additional match to catch up to IT.City Bacon, this is a good opportunity for them to kind of stick it to Red, make it a bit of a three-way tie going into this week's matches. And, I mean, I find it highly unlikely that anybody's going to catch up to the top 3 teams. There's still a fight for 4th, but maybe Bazaar Gaming can sneak their way into first place.
Yeah, if any team could maybe do it, it's the Jekyll and Hyde team of RRQ, who you never know who you're going to see. Maybe they can turn on Dr. Jekyll for the rest of the season, but yeah. The top 3 have surely separated themselves, and Alpha Red was undefeated until last week when IT.City Bacon finally took them down and gave them their first series loss. Not only that, gave them their 4th and 5th game losses of the season. And you can see Bazaar Gaming themselves have a stellar record of 17-5 in those games, giving them 17 points. They earlier in the season defeated IT.City Bacon themselves, so certainly a team to be reckoned with. Looks like we're taking a look at the most assists throughout the season. Alpha Red's KSSA with 233 assists. He's certainly doing his job. Very much helps when he has a player like NT getting those kills off with the tally behind him. Moss, as you know, from Bacon with his 217, not too shabby himself. L9 from RRQ with 174. Tiles from Alpha Red, also up there on those assists, 173. And Evos is Drewy with 168. So surprising not to see a Bazaar Gaming member up there, but that said, they've had a lot of 8-minute games, so maybe they don't have time to pick up assists.
Yeah, who needs kills when you're taking towers and taking the core? And I believe this is going to be the starting lineup for Alpha Red, SD, Fire, first one, NT, Taos, and KSSA.
Yep.
And, I mean, they definitely want to have a strong performance here, see if they can solidify themselves as that number 1. Because if Bazaar Gaming wins, Bazaar Gaming would be ahead of IT.City Bacon in terms of points. They would also be ahead of Alpha Red in head-to-head matchup because they would end up being even with them in points. So it's like this immediately catapults Bazaar Gaming into first place if they win. Well, if they 2-0. They have to 2-0 for that to be.
Right, as you do count the games there. They breeze through that little right there. So Defoxin, Error, and Crew. I love how Error's name is spelled and how they put the L for... Because I'm imagining he uses a lowercase L for the first part of the R, so L2.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me forever to figure out how to say his name because they had that capital L in there. Anyway, the point is he's one of the more animated and lively characters on the side of Bazaar Gaming and plays a mean Natalia as well. That's another thing to keep in mind because we've seen a lot of, top team versus bottom team throughout, which tends to happen. Obviously, we saw IT.City Bacon versus Alpha Red recently, but these two teams, they really like to run that Natalia. They have really similar strategies, so it'll be interesting to see how they decide to ban and pick if they want to defeat the other team. I feel like this game has a lot going on in the draft, and a lot of it will come down to that if they can steal away members just by picking them away rather than banning them away.
I'll be curious to see if they do prioritize the Natalia. We've been seeing it pop up more and more. It's getting more play from a variety of teams. Yeah, I think we saw it in a couple of games in the Valor series this weekend. I'm not completely sold on it yet.
Well, I'm very certain you're going to see more Natalia going forward. And
no, she's definitely good. I'm not fully sold on her being a utility mid like we see with Raz and like we see with Liliana.
Okay, I have one word for you, Yebeneth.
Yeah.
Natalia is a hard counter to Yebeneth, and Yebeneth is ridiculously good.
That's fair. That is more than fair. No, she definitely has her place for me. I'm not sure sold whether or not she's a utility bit. Like you can pick her safely in a lot of scenarios. Like you can pick Raz, Liliana fairly safely, and you can kind of work comps around them. They both bring enough to the table for that
Well, look at that.
because she gets them. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind it as a ban because she's definitely good. I'm waiting to see how people will answer her, and I feel like her immobility brings up concerns, but we won't see her this game. And that means the marksman junglers are going to make it through here unless we see a trade-off of Violet and Lindis being gotten rid of here. Yebeneth hasn't been banned. There's the Violet, so they're going to let Yebeneth through on first pick.
I feel like the meta changes drastically once you get rid of Violet, because that gives you that crazy poke from the back. Slims and Lindis to a lesser extent as well, but if all of those heroes are banned out, it kind of changes the meta in a way that's not good for Natalia. Whereas if you have that heavy protect the carry comp, then Natalia just slides right in there with Violet, and they just ruin people.
Yeah.
Well, we do have, like you mentioned, Chognar Aram banned on the side of Alpha Red. So what that does is it bans people. It prevents Aram from getting that crazy lockdown. And interestingly enough, Greg gets through. Which, I know that sounds strange if you're not used to the RPL, but Greg is heavily banned. But not by the top teams, though, so perhaps are not as scared as some of the lower teams in the league. Alright, so with Lindis picked first, let's see what Bazaar does decide to go for. Coming out with a Valheim certainly makes sense, especially as one of the stronger side laners in the game. What do you think they pick up here?
Probably something tankier. Again, they banned the Natalia, so I would think they would want the Yebeneth. The fact that Alpha Red didn't grab it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty heavy priority, especially because the Lindis doesn't outrange Yebeneth's Nature's Realm, and I learned that the other day.
Crest isn't a bad. Oh wait, completely? Oh no, yeah, no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't because of the size of the circle on the actual center shot.
Right. I've learned as I played a little bit more Yebeneth that if you can't hit a clump of heroes, you always aim for the marksman, because they're the ones going to be burning you down, and sometimes they'll be too stubborn and stand in the circle and just die.
It's
very
if you catch a marksman, should use everything they can to get away from Yebeneth and get out of the circle, because that skill shot will keep you there. You don't realize how many ticks of it you're gonna eat by the time you walk in and try and walk out. So they do go something tanky. They pick up the Crest, but again, Yebeneth making it through. I don't know where these teams are gonna prioritize it, because I think it's really good.
I think they were choosing between the Yebeneth and the Crest because the Crest is really good here with no Chognar counter. I really like the Crest pick, and if Alpha Red's gonna give up Yebeneth, then this could be a disaster. Although Yebeneth is another side laner, I guess Crest could play the support role. That's a very nice thing about Kresh and Yebeneth, is that Kresh is as a flex pick. Yebeneth's less so of one, because
I still think you can.
It's hard because you can't use Redwood Rush not off cooldown, just immediately, you know?
Yeah, you have to time it. It takes significantly more patience to make sure you're putting yourself in the right position. And then if you're sacrificing the gold, the question is how well do you time your power spikes on getting actually tanky enough? Because if you want to go support item, you're going into Essence of the Wind, and then that takes some time to build up. You're not getting any other you're not building up health, and then you're losing out a little bit there.
Not to mention, Nature's Realm takes a little while to cast, so you can't have the entire team wailing on you. You have to have only one or two people wailing on you. But instead, we
have backup.
All right, so they're going to go for a more backline heavy. Oh, okay, interesting. Going to go for the Kreknak instead of the Slims. I personally like it because it jives with being all in and diving them, whereas Slims might be a step too slow trying to get in there after the Metamorphosis goes off. So I like getting in there with the Kreknak and wiping out the Crixie and the Lindis and just making life hell for them.
I agree completely. The Kreknak gives them a 3-main dive team. So Kresh uses meta. You have Kreknak going in or coming in from a side angle, and you've got a follow-up off of the Jinnar. This is how you would set up a Jinnar comp. They get something else a little bit tanky, something else that can do a little bit more direct peel, or can, again, facilitate the Jinnar dive, like give him a dive buddy to be able to come in with. That's good timing. There's the Ebeneth,
Ooh.
and we haven't talked about Marja all game. That's going to give him a hell of a solid set of side lanes. Support Yebeneth probably in this scenario, which we'll see how well they time this. I'm sure they have a plan for it. And
Yoma
Yoma, I
can
mean,
kind of deal with the Marja because Spectral Ire can heal really well in the lane, so you can kind of keep up with the Marja a little bit, and he just bursts damage. So like Marja can heal, but if you're getting bursted down, then sometimes it's hard to stay in the lane if Yoma can jump on you. I don't mind the Yoma. There's like not a whole. It sounds strange. It seems strange to say because just a month ago there was just way too many DS laners, but nowadays it's just like feels like Wonder Woman and Lubu and the like aren't really viable picks anymore.
I feel like people are just not caring for Irie as much as they should. Like, she didn't really get worse.
I
She still.
think I would honestly. I think that Yoma deals better with this lineup, but
True,
that
I definitely deals with the lane better, but I'm thinking about what Roma brings to the team fight, and I like the disengage of spin. I like having the Ryu to be able to make big plays. I like having the mobility and the split pushing, and like I feel like she still brings more to the overall table
I think what it is that
balance wise.
Yoma's as even though he's a bit squishy himself, he is a little bit more of a frontline character than Irie. Irie kind of gets in the back and runs away, and then that provides zero cover for your Valheim, for your Jinnar once he's done with Exuberance. Whereas having Yoma stand there and be able to Spectral Ire, even those couple seconds where you're being annoying and healing back up, can really buy your team some time. Whereas Irie gets in there and just kind of runs away after she pops Dew. The thing is, we're getting into the game, and this is going to be interesting because are they going to run Xenial as a normal support? We know he has the support tag, but he usually plays in one of the side lanes. And we saw it work in the past in the GCS, for instance, but let's see what they decide to go with now. Wow, ST taking a ton of damage, has to pop that restore right away. You can see the value of that Yama coming in right away there. The Battle of Air and T, these star mages, these Natalia mains here going at it. I'm really excited to see that.
I think the
Yeah,
Xenial will be fine as long as they're timing their team fights properly. You will get him through those awkward levels.
look at
Around
this.
level.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's one poke to the face, and SD already wants to go back.
Yeah, so that's what they trusted in Jami to be that really good Yoma there. And he's already making it work, at least in the beginning here. Alright, KZ going in. And a little bit risky there for him. He almost had his shield pop before he was able to get in there. Air taking quite a bit of damage, but then again, so is NT. Now in your bottom lane, look at this from Taos and Sky. Taos actually winning that matchup. Air taking a ton of damage, but look at Valheim cower behind his tower. Who does that to Valheim in lane? Oh my goodness. That said, SD extremely low, does not have Ghost Walk, but managed to get out of there. Jami felt like he probably would have died if he pursued it. But it's not, you don't get the gold or the experience for that, but you do get the retreat, which gives you so much in the lane, and Marsh is going to lose most, if not all, of that wave.
Yeah, I do want to see them convert onto it more. Getting the Spirit Sentinel is a good first step, but they're gonna need to keep that up if they want to kind of shut down the Marja and cut off that flank potential towards the mid to late game. As for the Yebeneth beating up on the Valheim, I mean, I don't know, man. The beware the Ents. Like don't mess with the Ents. Clearly, I mean Yebeneth, he's got decent poke. He's a threat. If Valheim messes up in positioning, he's gonna get the crap beat out of him. So it does make sense. And Defoxen with a well-timed invasion, it is being matched, but Tony's going to go in there and
Oh,
maybe he makes something
KSSA.
happen. They
Oh,
haven't finished it yet. It will go over the
first one
first one.
gets it.
Here comes the collapse, and that's going to be Sky picking up the kill. KSSA now under pressure. He's got Taos there to back him up a little bit, but there isn't a Redwood Rush to push them back. And there's going to be 2 kills going over the side of Bazaar Gaming.
Yeah, just a poor decision there from Alpha Red. I mean, if you can't pick up the Abyssal Dragon, then what makes you think you can evade their jungle, right? So, did not work out for them at all. Defoxen gets extremely low, has to go ahead and go back. I'm not sure if it's really necessary, but ended up doing so in the end. And the fight between Jami and ST continues.
Hmm. I mean, not shutting down SD, putting the pressure on is good, but I think they need to make something happen again. If the Foxen shows up there one more time, finally kind of gets that kill, kind of builds that momentum, it'll definitely be worth it. And right now, DeFoxen is kind of the one moving around the map enough, affecting change. The Lindis has been focused on the hard farm and isn't really there yet, is going with a scorching wind, so it doesn't have the damage, is going for attack speed. That could come back to
Oh,
bite them. And that's
KSSA
going to
can't get
KSA.
away.
He's gone. Air pops out the exuberance and finishes the job.
Yeah, there's no way for him to escape there. Not even the Angelic Splendor would have gotten him out of there in that one. They're going to collapse on the SD. I don't think they're going to get her, but looks like Jami is just going to be able to cut this wave, and in the meantime, they're going to take the Sage buff as well. So Bazaar Gaming is pushing around Alpha Red, and I feel sad now that we didn't have predictions, because I swear to you, I was going to pick Bazaar Gaming before this all started. They've been looking really good lately, and Alpha Red has been decent, but slightly shaky, beating up on the lower teams, and obviously losing to IT.City Bacon.
Yeah, so far what we've seen is to match out the Lindis, they've
Oh,
been
to Foxen.
pretty aggressive. He should be fine. Gets over the wall.
Ooh.
Great stun out from Jomi. That
Up
was a
air,
good one.
flicker in.
And Exuberance
Exuberance.
into the back line.
First
First one goes down, and Jomi should be able to continue to pressure this lane. Again, Bazaar Gaming, they're all about the timing right now. They're doing a really good pressure of moving around the map and pressuring Alpha Red. They've kind of stopped this Lindis from having the space for her to be able to farm, and SD is in some serious trouble. Tony will not dive that. Actually, no, didn't have the Metamorphosis, so held that. Now going to run into NT in the middle, takes a mischief and a knock up to the face, but KSSA is there to back him up. So far, we're seeing a pretty solid Bazaar Gaming, just continuing to pressure, and we already see DeFoxen heading back top, looking for more, going back to the well.
Look at Jami just completely owning this matchup. He goes in, pokes, and runs away. Doesn't let them get the attack speed in. But in comes the attack expander. Are they going to get this tower? DeFox is getting extremely low. Has to jump away. Jami is going to be okay despite taking that shield shot. First one's going to run and try to get some damage in, but there's no wave here for him to do anything. Jami taking a lot of damage, but so is KSSA from that tower. In comes Tony. He has the Metamorphosis. Is he going to make this happen? Pops it right here. Gets the first one. Error does have the exuberance. Going to go in. He's going to die. And KSSA is just quivering under this tower as it's going to go down as well. KSSA, just dead. Just, what are you doing there, buddy?
Stuck around too long, and we're starting to see. I mean, you talked about Bazaar Gaming's games ending fairly quickly. We are seeing an aggressive team. SD instantly has to ghost walk out. Error is looking for him. NT is there. That is going to be an inner tower going down. So 2 towers, multiple kills over to the side of Bazaar Gaming. Plenty of jungle stolen. I think they've taken every move up after the first one. Tao's now under trouble, getting pressured in by Sky. They have a minion wave here. Error is there as well. Exuberance is back up. They've got the full kit to be able to do everything they need to in a dive if they want it. They will back up and start making their way over the Bissell Dragon, but this gold lead is starting to mount 4K at 6 minutes.
The aggression coming in from Bazaar is insane. Tony just walking under tower casually just so they can get onto SD quicker. That is just so aggressive from them and just shows their confidence that they know exactly what they're doing. And Sky, we talked about him cowering on the tower against Taos. He knew what he was doing. He figured, okay, I'm going to lose this matchup, but I'm going to win it later on once my team starts getting that farm in, and looks like it's making it work for him. Taos has to pop the ult just to clear this minion wave, and KSSA has to use Angelic Splendor as well. That's a huge loss for them. Now they're not going to have those ults for a long time.
Some pressure on the SD. Here comes the Fox and instantly obliterates first one. They will also get a nice Welling Blade out from Jomi. Get the double kill on him. DeFox must have gotten him with that last auto attack. Now pressure into the middle. The wave is here. Error looking for an opportunity to Exuberance. Double knockback with the Metamorphosis. Exuberance in full team wipe. Full team combo. Oh, no. Not a full team wipe, but they instantly take those 2 out. That is going to be high ground tower going down. Taos is there. There's about 6 to 7 seconds. If they lose Taos, actually, if the timing on this is right, the minions are here. They can easily end this game. Taos puts his hands together, but nobody is cheering except for the side of Bazaar Gaming. They will instantly bring this down at a 7:39 minute game. 7 minutes, 39 seconds.
Okay, I thought that Bazaar looked better lately, but 7 minutes and 40 seconds? Are you kidding me?
Someone's here to make a statement.
This is not RRQ. This is not TDC. This isn't the bottom team in the league. This is a team that's currently in first place. And that's only their 6th game loss of the season out of what, 27? It's like, it's
Something like that.
insane. 25 or something like that. That was ridiculous. 11-0. And by the way, that is the Cricknack dream. You run around, you just squash everyone, including their squishy jungler, and the game ends super quickly. The Dark Slayer didn't even spawn.
I want to note that APR ran into a problem. If you multiple problems. If you look at Bazaar Gaming's builds, damage, 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 damage. Like everything there's damage. They have 4 sources of damage. If you look at APR's builds, they have no damage. They went defensive on Marja, which can be fine, but was under pressure from the Cricknack pretty much consistently. They went attack speed on Lindis, so didn't have the damage coming out from that Soul Reaver, was looking for that on-hit magic damage, which can be valuable, but is slower in the rotation, and they recognized it really quickly that if they continued to pressure with the builds that were being built, nobody on the side of Alpha Red was actually going to hurt them at all. So they could dive with impunity. Yeah, you had to worry about the tower damage, but there was no damage coming out from Alpha Red.
Also, keep in mind that the entire time, Crest, he only used his ultimate aggressively. He was never even in trouble at all. That's really strange to think about, that, you know, someone who's constantly scouting, constantly being on the front line, he wasn't even taking enough damage to even think about using the Metamorphosis. It just got to such a snowbally position that he's like, I kind of want to use my ult. I haven't used this thing yet, so maybe I should. But we got through like 6 kills and he hadn't even used it once. It was that dominant of a performance. And I don't even know what the heck does Alfred do to come back from that. That was just mentally traumatizing.
Build damage. If Crest isn't afraid, like, to your point, Crest was not scared at any point. They are up 4 kills, and he gets a perfect 2-man Metamorphosis dive. Like, he was like, we can use this to dive. We can get these kills. They kill 2 in top, take the top tower, like, continue the pressure. That's when they killed KSSA at the blue. It just, there was no damage, so they had nothing to fear. They could just dive, and no one was going to hurt them. So Kresh could do what he wanted. Cricknack was never afraid of getting popped if he went in too deep. Jinnar was willing to pop Exuberance pretty much any time he was coming in on any kind of flank. Like, even flanks that looked a little bit questionable that you'd be like, maybe we don't necessarily do that. No. No one was going to hurt them. No one could do anything to them.
I also like just the knowledge and the confidence in their abilities in each lane. For instance, the Yoma versus the Marja. Jami just says, okay, well, I know how to deal with this. I've practiced against this before. I've seen this on the ladder. And all I have to do is poke, run away. Poke, run away. And she can lifesteal, but she's not going to lifesteal on me. She can lifesteal on the minions. That's okay. And on the other hand, we had Valheim going off against the Ibaneth. And he said, I can't win this matchup. I'm not going to try to force it. I'm going to hide behind this tower. But once my team gets ahead, that's my time to shine. And it was just beautiful to see them completely understand each matchup and not only how to play it, but know when to take advantage and to run away at the right times.
And that's the thing. You would think that Marja and Yabineth would straight win those matchups and have all of that pressure. But Defoxin had really, really great timing, showed up at the proper moments to both steal jungle as well as put pressure on the lanes, and the Lindis never got going. And Defoxin pretty much broke that game open by supporting Jami after Jami got a little bit of an advantage, just went back up there multiple times, put the pressure on the Marja, so she couldn't get through to her Barrett's Agony, and then would have been a legitimate problem. And ignored the Yabineth lane, because although Yabineth can pressure, he's got no sieging capability. It takes him a while to be able to actually hit the tower. So they were willing to sacrifice the farm on the Valheim to put the Ryoma ahead, to put the mid lane ahead, to get the Cricknack to a finished Soul Reaver, finished Rank Breaker, and boots at 7 minutes.
All right, well, we're into this next ban pick situation here. And starting off, we have Bazaar banning themselves out, the Chogner and the Natalia. And on the other hand, we have Alpha Red with the Omen and the Mina. Same bans, just different teams from the last game. We'll see what Bazaar decides to do in this all-important third ban. They could decide to leave the Violet open so that potentially they could take it. They're going to go ahead and ban the Valheim, so that's not a potential pick here from Alpha Red. And they're a bit forced into the Violet pick here. Or the Violet ban, excuse me.
Yeah, unless they've got a really good answer to that. Yeah, Beneth it is. Okay, so, I mean, this gives an opportunity for the Violet first pick. I don't see there being any other higher priority character unless you're worried about maybe Crushed. But I think if you're getting Violet, there are other things you can use to protect her. So you don't need to commit to the Crushed first pick. And they're looking at Lindis first pick. They think they can show Alpha Red how to play Lindis properly.
I think Crash would be a reasonable choice here just because, again, no Chognar, and Crash has shown himself to be a bit superior to Greg thus far. I know we keep talking about Greg, but it is a pretty popular pick in these leagues. That said, no Natalia, so lowers the power level of Greg just a bit there. But you can see why they like Lindis. If you look at the win percentage across the league, 62.5%, and almost universally either picked or banned.
I mean, she's still very, very good, despite.
Look at this. There's been one game in 101 in which she hasn't been picked or banned.
She's good. She still brings plenty to the table. There are still plenty of compositions where she works. She's now more of a mid to late game hero than she is, kind of all around hero. And Grok Marja, putting the faith in the Marja. I don't think the Marja was allowed to really do anything. I think picking the Grok this early, I mean, it's not bad. I'm still not a full believer in Grok and Jomi's Ryoma to answer the Marja. I mean, maybe this is a true skill matchup where Ryoma can beat Marja if the poke lands, and Marja beats everything else if she can avoid it.
Yeah, Ryoma seems like a character that it seems like a Necroth type in a way, and that if you're just good, you can just make magic happen. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't really like the Grok. I think they're just disappointed in how the Xenial worked out for them, which, I mean, sure.
Even so, I don't think you have to take it that early. Like,
right.
You could secure the Crashed, which was really important. Now, it didn't get taken by the other side.
This is a Lane Lindis?
Lindis.
Lindis.
Yeah, no, I ran into a Lane Lindis in stream a couple of days ago, and someone was like, "It's a Lindis." I'm like, I like that. Lindis does nothing.
Lindis?
I mean, she doesn't do nothing, but she's predictable. You can tell. It's like Lindis can only really be in the bushes or not in the bushes. Like, she's only in two places, guys. She's only coming at you from two angles.
Are we gonna see an AHQ repeat itself, where one team seemed like the dominant team in one game, and then they just threw it away with the drafts?
Not necessarily, because Lindis isn't strictly bad. That's the thing, is you can still run a Lindis from a traditional AD carry standpoint. She's going to end up being more damage. It is a little bit more of a slow roll, but you've got damage out of Jomi, who played pretty well into SD and did a really good job there. You've basically got the same composition with just a little bit more of a chase down AD carry when you're positioning out of bushes and out of the jungle. I don't mind this solely from the perspective that the rest of this core, other than the Lindis, we just saw them play it incredibly well. They had good timings, they had good defense, very good collapses. There wasn't really an opportunity for Alpha Red to do a whole lot.
Well, this is the same exact comp, except for Lindis in place of Valheim.
Yeah, so but my point being is that, I think that they'll be okay. I don't have an issue with the composition, and come on, give me the Irie. I still think she's good. I still think she is she is a safe answer to a lot of things.
Yeah, I think I would like the Irie here as well, just so you can get on top of the Lindis potentially. After everyone dives in, Lindis is going to be in the back, and
she's also good in the scramble. She's good in messy team fights, and if you're APR, you're not looking for straight up team fights. You're looking for a hook, and you're looking for poke, and you're looking to kite, and you're looking to catch them unawares. You're looking to get Defoxen to dive too far, or to pick the Lindis or the Ryoma out of the composition. You want a messy team fight, you don't want it straight up.
Alright, well, the differences on Alpha Red's side are that, I mean, other than the switch from Lindis to Slims, that aside, they've gone from Yebeneth and Xenial to Grak and Irie. What do you think about that? Because they're facing pretty much the same comp.
Yeah, I like the Irie more. I don't like the Grak more. I would like if that were Yebeneth or Xenial. Like, yeah, Yebeneth wasn't an option,
I
but if that were Xenial, I'd feel a little bit better
I
about it.
I think I prefer having like a true support character though in that support role. I think I'm fine with having the
Maybe.
crack there.
I
Um,
don't know. I'm. It depends on how tanky he gets. It depends on how well he plays the front line. Because that's the key. Is you're gonna need like Marsha's gonna be doing Marsha things. You're gonna need somebody who's willing to stand there and eat damage. And in a lot of ways that can be Grok. But you've got two essential flankers in Irie and Marsha. And so it's not like Grok's got a difficult job on his hand to deal with how well we saw Bazaar play the run him down composition of like anytime they saw an opportunity, dive from the cricknack instantly into an exuberance. Crash uses metamorphosis, exuberance is there to follow. Like they did a really good job of making those dive plays. So we'll see.
all right, well, we have an invade on both sides of the map here, both going for the red golem. Sky's going to go ahead and back off and let that happen. Our mid laners kind of stay in the area, and Crest is going...
Ooh, nice steal.
Wow, yeah, great steal there. Good. What's that ability called? The Circle of Doom? Anyway,
The trap. The
like
it's not called lunar trap.
entrapment or something like that? Something crazy. Anyway, that aside, she does get it.
Spread softly. That's the only one that sticks in my brain.
Right. Any case. Well, looks like we have a slight lead here for Bazaar because in parts of that steal, like KSSA in a lot of trouble. Probably has to use his flicker just to get out of here. Jami probably has Naginata Juice again. And yeah, there we go. Uses flicker at the right time so that there's no Wailing Blade or Naginata Jutsu to take that out. First one misses on the spear. I was about to say that the Grak hook is going to be a little bit less effective in this game than it normally would with, say, Natalia, because you really only have the knockup from Crixie, and that's about it. Maybe the spear if he's right there as well, but it's not going to be the blow up, especially if he gets the hook on Tony, for instance.
No, again,
Speaking of which,
well, it gets the hook on Tony, knock up underneath the tower. That's the right way to play it, but we'll walk away. Again, the Grok is a concern when it comes to him being the main source of peel. It's gonna
another
be
hook. Oop, oh.
Nah, not gonna happen.
Okay. Well, all that's
And
messing around means that Bazaar Gaming has jumped on this dragon, and they're going to take it before Talos has anything to say about it. This guy says, go away, I have vision, so pish posh, leave. Air's going to rotate back, and they lose basically 0 farm, which is great for Bazaar Gaming. They've actually taken nearly 1,000 gold lead, and so just superior farming, superior taking of the jungle camps, and they find themselves in a really nice spot.
Good rotations. They did a good job of keeping track of what was going on in all of the lanes, as well as securing enough jungle so that they weren't going to end up behind. They secured 1 extra jungle camp in the top half of the map, then actually 2 extra than Alpha Red did because of the additional steal away by Sky. So you start to see that build the lead. Then you add the dragon in there, so it builds up. It builds up fairly quickly. Just really like 1 wave missed here, 1 wave missed there. Item build wise, we are still seeing first one favor the Scorching Wind. The damage build's a little bit better because between the Marja, the Marja is gone with a bit more of an aggressive build because she realized how difficult it was for her last time. But still, I don't like Scorching Wind in these scenarios.
All right. Well, hook comes in from KSSA, does not pop the World Devourer. But, yeah, at least for first one here on the Slims, he does have... Oh, hold that thought for a second. As he's going to go and pop the Dew, he's going to take some damage on the backside from Defox, and hook comes out, does not connect. And they're going to go ahead and get on out of there. But Slims does have that percentage-based damage, so he can get a little bit more damage than Lindis would have with the Scorching Wind. So that's something to his side. Scorching Wind does give a ton of attack speed, so you can build that and not really have to waste gold on more attack speed items after that, other than potentially war boots.
It can, it very much can work, but we are going to see
hook in.
KSSA gets a good hook, but that's going to be Metamorphosis out of Tony. Sky putting a bit of pressure. There's going to be Exuberance and a flicker away by NT to be able to open to get himself out of there. Now we're going to see the Abyssal Dragon being started up. Taos is there looking to get a little bit of harassment in there. He's going to step forward, but the Abyssal Dragon goes over to Sky. Taos, whole team from Alpha Red have rotated in, but nothing going to be there for them to take. Everyone will go back to their respective portions of the map, and advantage continuing to build for Bazaar Gaming. They're just one step ahead.
That was a little bit risky because if you look, Sky does not have punish, so somehow DeFoxen timed that a little bit incorrectly and didn't have the punish in time. That could have been stolen by Alpha Red if they had the timing correctly. That said, they do get it, and it was all basically secured. Okay, they take the Spirit Sentinel as well. That was basically secured earlier when they jumped in. They jumped onto KSSA and NT, and the coordination just isn't there for Alpha Red at the moment. You saw them just flicker off in different directions and not even have a good idea of what they're trying to get accomplished there. It looks like there's going to be a bit of a jump onto Taos here. He's taking a lot of damage, but so is Sky. In comes Air from the backside. Knows he can get all this damage in. Metamorphosis does miss, and wow, good job from NT picking up a kill before he goes down. A little bit sloppy there from Sky, staying in the area when they had the guaranteed kill. But that said, things are still looking okay for Bazaar.
Yeah, it still ends at an advantage, but SD, waiting in this brush, is going to get the spin-off, steps forward, gets a bit more damage, doesn't decide to commit the Ryu. KSSA is there as well, so maybe looking for a fadeaway hook, and they're just going to back up, not going to go for aggressive play. We'll see DeFoxen drop the bottom tower for Bazaar Gaming, so still building their lead, but not accelerating at the same pace as we saw last game. I think Alpha Red's just playing a lot safer.
Yeah, and it's not really working out too well for them, even though they're not as far behind as they were last game. It's still not looking great. The one thing they can look forward to is that DeFoxen is very killable from the mid game on as other players scale their damage, and he doesn't have quite enough defense to keep up with it. This guy's going to go ahead and try to make something happen here, which is very interesting considering he's by himself. A couple of members going to try to join him in air, and Tony in the bush here. Bush body. Let's go, NT here. Probably dead. He has a flicker. One more auto attack from air potentially. I think air could have killed that, or killed her.
Yeah, I mean, they could have committed everything they need to that. Now Tony taking a little bit of damage. He does have the Metamorphosis in his hand.
He just got it. He didn't have it. Oh, gets hooked in. Is he going to use the Metamorphosis? Going to go ahead and jump out of there. It gets the shield as well, and that's the sign for DeFoxen and Sky to quit on this Abyssal Dragon here. Jumping a little bit of trouble. Let's see if the spear comes out from first one to try it and catch him here. In comes the Shuriken, in comes the Dude. Takes a lot of damage, going to be under the tower, and first one's going to take him down, but he's going to go down himself, and maybe SD as well. Is he going to get the dash away? Shadow is not there, and Air is going to pick up 2 for the side of Bazaar Gaming, and they don't even get the tower. Tony's going to rotate here as well, and looks like they're going to pick up a tower for themselves instead.
Air's got an incredibly good GNR, especially just on the timing, when to show up. That was cutting a little bit close and did end up losing Jomi, but won out the day, got the 2 kills, had the double buff on him, so that helped out as well, and turns that into even more of a goal lead. They're pushing it up to 3K. The members of Alpha Red are doing a very good job of keeping things even, but it's starting to become a little bit of a problem, and again, I feel like first one just doesn't do enough damage. It's better this game. The kills are like the deaths are a little bit closer. KSSA should be able to walk away from that. Do that safely. Tony is roaming around, but I don't know. I mean, look at all these rank breakers.
I gotta agree with you on the side of Alpha Red playing way too defensively. Look at the Sonic boots as well as the Phoenix here on Marja. You don't need all that. In comes the flank and the Metamorphosis. Lots of damage coming to KSSA. Is he going to pop the World Devourer? No, he's going to go down first. First one is taking a lot of damage as well. Air's going to get out of there from below the tower. Tony's going to give his life, but that's okay because his team's doing so much damage. DeFoxen jumps in as well. SD goes down. So does first one, and that is an ace for Bazaar Gaming. They're going to rotate over to this bottom tower and try to get a top tower while they're at it.
I mean, that was the right time to make that aggressive of a play. Like I said, look at all them rank breakers. Rank breaker is basically at its most valuable right now. The enemy team has maybe 1 armor item-ish. They haven't built up, the levels are starting to get there, so they've got some build up just through sheer leveling. Rank breaker is in a really good spot. You combine that with the mixed damage they're getting out of how far ahead this GNR is, the extra magic damage coming off of the Blitz Blade. You've got just the sheer burst coming out from both DeFoxen and Jomi. That was the time to take an aggressive fight like that. They turned that into a 6K gold lead. They turned that into a high ground tower. It's not the end of the game. This isn't going to end at 7 minutes, but they have basically set the stage for them to be able to like if they want to, they can slow roll the pressure in. I don't see them letting up on the pressure at all, but they have a very clear advantage and plenty of safety net for them to keep trying to make these big plays.
Yeah, the game is not over, not literally over, but the beginning of the end, it seems like, has come here for Alpha Red, as they are 7,000 gold down. Bazaar Gaming going to start up on this Dark Slayer. One thing I want to add to the point you just made is that not only did Bazaar Gaming have the right amount of items, have the right situation to flank, but they had all of the minion waves pushed in as well. So unless that was an absolute disaster of a team fight, they were going to not come out of there badly no matter what, because all the minions were pushed up at the end of the fight. Even if it was a very scrap down, knockdown fight, they're going to be able to take those towers in the end just from people branching off afterwards. So in the end, they do get that crazy ace and are able to pick up the high ground tower immediately off of that, and looks like they're going to try to get this going with a double buff on their hands.
What I really like about the way Bazaar is playing this is
Air?
Air, you get hooked in, has to blink away, pops the exuberance and gets the windshield. That's some resources burned.
Yeah.
So a good play there by KSSA to get that, although there is pressure continuing in from multiple lanes. And what I was saying was, I like the way the Bazaar is playing this because they're very much playing to their item spikes, and we don't see a whole lot of that. Like, they've built items for the mid game. They built items for the timing.
Goodness.
KSSA gets obliterated by Defox, and that's going to be the Ghost Wipe out. Exuberance is already back up. It has been maybe 15 seconds. The Metamorphosis was used. SD does go in there, uses the Ryu, doesn't get a big enough shield, gets pushed out by Defoxin. Now Jomi over the wall, putting pressure on the first one. He'll flicker. Doesn't even use the pinwheel. And we do see the members of Bazaar just continuing to slowly build up this pressure. They don't have as much of a mini wave as I think they like. Oh, takes a lot of damage. Ghost walks away. Again, they'll get a reprieve, but they should be pressuring in mid again very, very soon. And the members of Bazaar will back up and reset themselves across the map. But again, like the timings on the items, the stuff that they're building, the way they're playing their aggression, they don't have a super fed hyper carry. They've just got a bunch of people who are the right amount of damage to push the limit.
All 5 heroes on their side are hyper carries. They're just carrying themselves to a victory here over Alpha Red. 11,000 gold ahead. This is absolutely ridiculous. And Alpha Red doesn't even have objectives to play for. This is just going to be a slow choke out here from Bazaar Gaming. You see the Hecate's picked up here from Jinnar. He's just going to be doing even more damage from now on. And you see the slow pushing, just wave after wave after wave. Tony gets hooked, gets a lot of damage onto him, but he's going to be perfectly fine. Has a Metamorphosis, has a panic button if he does need that. And they are really putting on the pressure. John are going to be up top. Jinnar and Crest on the bottom here. Tony and Air doing their thing. Is Tony going to go for the flank once more? And they're thinking about it. They're pushing in. The super minions are there. Hook is dodged. And this is just painful. Tony goes in just under the tower. Pops a Metamorphosis. Tao is going to take a lot of damage as well. SD taking damage right there. Can't even do anything. Tries to prop the U. Gets the damage in, but has to immediately shadow away as the tower does fall. And this is what you're like you were talking about, that clockwork strategy that we saw earlier. And they're just taking down tower after tower.
Yeah, they should be able to continue to pressure this. Hook is going to miss. SD under pressure to Fox. He drops him super low. They've got the minions. It's over.
Oh my goodness. It's like, oh, maybe they're going to take the next tower. No, Alpha Red left their core open and it was gone. And that was dominant with a capital D victory over the #1 team in the league, Bazaar Gaming. Give it to them.
What #1 team? Bazaar is #1.
Well, former #1. That was so dominant.
That didn't look like 2 top seeds at all. That looked like a top seed versus a bottom seed. That looked like Bazaar. Just so the strategy they played was very mid game. I didn't bring it up, but they were reaching a point where you look at the items they've built. Yeah, you're getting a bit of crit out of Sky, but again, Lindis with the building the frost cape. There is a damage fall off there going with that defensive item. We saw first one getting towards that sort of hyper carry marksman build. There was a possibility that if the game went on, Slims was going to get to the point where he could 1v5 if like he could kill the entire enemy team if protected. They didn't let that happen. They played the timing on their game, on their composition incredibly well to just like there's we got to see some clockwork crash, but what I think was most impressive was how well the Foxen did showing up at the right moments on the Cricknack. There's just things died, and Cricknack, like most assassin junglers, is hit or miss. It didn't look like there was a lot of options for Alpha Red to kind of battle the Cricknack.
I think their insistence on having a marksman really solidified their strategy. So they're going to try to gain an early lead, and they're going to solidify that lead. They're going to make that consolidate their lead with the marksman in order to take down the towers. And if they have that lead going into the mid game, perhaps they're trying to siege onto them and the opponents are taking a hyper defensive posture, then Lindis can be there to help take down the towers, which you saw they were able to do, that dive onto the mid tower, because they had multiple heroes who can take down the tower with the Cricknack and the Lindis. They were able to take that down while that crazy fight was taking place. So even if they lost members there, it was still going to be okay for their team. And you see where it all came together. They get that early lead. No matter what, they get the tower advantage as long as they have that lead. And from there, even if the opposing marksman or jungler or what have you comes online, it's going to be too late, right? There's too many super minions. There's too much map pressure. There's too much map control, to the point where there's a point of no return.
I think the thing I liked about it the most was I honestly don't think it mattered what their marksman was. I think that they played the rest of their composition so well that the marksman was like, okay, we need a marksman who's going to help drop towers, who's going to bring that damage in there, right? But like, they knew exactly what they wanted to have happen, and just like that was just a really impressive execution. I don't think I was expecting from Bazaar. Side note, Jomi done wrecked that Marja. Like, that was good, and also wrecked both Marjas. Jomi played a really good Ryoma.
Like, it was against Marja the first game, and against the Irie the second game.
I've been kind of down on Ryoma just because I didn't think he was bringing a whole lot. But if you can play at that level, if you can play Jomi's Ryoma and just dominate the lane, put in the good pressure, time things out with your jungler well, so that there isn't a counter gank scenario. And when there is, you do a good job of kind of removing yourself from that situation. More power to you. Play the Ryoma. Prove me wrong.
Okay, well, we're going to go to a break and let the rest of this interview run. The player on the left is Error. I'm not really sure about the player on the right, but we'll let this run, and our next match will be up after this. It's going to be TDC, aka Toyota Diamond Cobra, versus Buriram. So see you in a bit, guys.
เซ็นทรัลเวิลด์ค่ะ
ใช่ค่ะเอางี้ดีกว่าฝากอะไรที่คนที่จะมาดูออฟไลน์เรา
ให้ฝากถึงแฟนๆ
ชวนเขามาดูออฟไลน์หน่อย
ก็เราจะทำตามสัญญาครับขอเวลาอีกไม่นาน
ก็ฝากติดตามผลงานต่อไปด้วยครับ
ไม่ใช่แค่นี้นะคะถ้าเขาเข้าไปถึงรอบออฟไลน์แล้วนะคะก็จะเจอพวกเราด้วยนะคะยังไงเดี๋ยวไปดูไฮไลท์สวยๆกันดีกว่านะคะได้ค่ะบ๊ายบาย
คือคัมภีร์แห่งการเริ่มต้นและคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ผู้เล่นสามารถปลดล็อกคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ได้ด้วยการใช้250คูปองและแพ็คที่15รีเวลในราคา490คูปองผู้เล่นสามารถเพิ่มรีเวลของคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ได้ด้วยการเพิ่มค่าผลงานซึ่งจะได้รับเมื่อทำภารกิจโดยมีทั้งภารกิจรายวันและภารกิจรายสัปดาห์และสำหรับผู้ปลดล็อกคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ขั้นสูงจะสามารถทำภารกิจพิเศษได้อีกด้วยหรือผู้เล่นสามารถเพิ่มเลเวลของคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ได้โดยการใช้คูปองจำนวน50คูปองต่อเลเวลผู้เล่นจะได้รับของรางวัลพิเศษเมื่อคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์เลเวลอัพเช่นสกินพิเศษทิกเก็ตมอทอสเลือกรับฮีโร่1ตัวจากทั้งหมดที่กำหนดเลือกรับสกิน1สกินจากทั้งหมดที่กำหนดรูปโปรไฟล์ลิมิเต็ดสุดน่ารักเอฟเฟกต์พิเศษต่างๆภายในเกมและสกินสุดเอ็กซ์คลูซีฟArrival มูลาพิเศษถึงวันที่ 28 ตุลาคมนี้เท่านั้นนอกจากนี้ผู้เล่นที่มีเลเวลถึง 60 จะได้สิทธิพิเศษหมุนกงล้อแห่งโชคชะตาเพื่อรับของรางวัลพิเศษเพิ่มเติมแล้วพบกันเริ่ม 17 กันยายนนี้
Let my fist do the talking. It's my time to shine. I'll let my fist do the talking.
อย่าลืมกดติดตามเพื่อชมวิดีโอใหม่และไลฟ์สดก่อนใคร
It's my time to shine.
ชนะจะเป็นของเรา Welcome to สู่ดินแดนที่ใครต่อใครมันท้าปีนป่ายเข้าตีล้อมจะเป็นแทบตายต้องโดนอย่างสักเท่าไหร่สมรภูมิสุดท้ายโลกไม่มีอะไรที่เราทำไม่ได้ Go We are the battles We are fighters กอดคอและไปด้วยกันดินแดนความรักทุกคนไม่ยอมแพ้แค่ลุยให้รู้ไป This is the battle We are better เรียกสต่อให้ชีวิตใหม่เดินผ่านสมองเปิดล้อมด้วยความคิด The game of the world Some people walk away, some people want to stay. Everything is up to you, you're gonna win or gonna lose. To live is life to play, 'cause life is such a game. No matter what it takes, just keep going on before you die. Welcome to สู่ดินแดนที่ใครต่อใครมันท้าปีนป่ายเข้าตีล้อมจะเป็นแทบตาย ต้องโดนอย่างสักเท่าไหร่สมรภูมิสุดท้ายโลกไม่มีอะไรที่เราทำไม่ได้ Go We are the battles We are fighters กอดคอและไปด้วยกันดินแดนความรักทุกคนไม่ยอมแพ้แค่ลุยให้รู้ไป This is the battle We are better เรียกสต่อให้ชีวิตใหม่เดินผ่านสมองเปิดล้อมด้วยความคิด The game of the world This is my life My fun Gonna win And never give up until I die And never give up until I die Welcome to สู่ดินแดนที่ใครต่อใคร Some people walk away, some people want to stay. Everything is up to you, you're gonna win or gonna lose. To live is right to play, 'cause life is such a game. No matter what it takes, just keep going on before you die. Welcome to สู่ดินแดนที่ใครต่อใครบรรทัดอินไปเขาตีล้อมเธอเป็นแทบตายต้องโดนอีกสักเท่าไหร่สมรภูมิสุดท้ายโลกไม่มีอะไรที่เราทำไม่ได้ Go We are the battles We are fighters กอดคอกันไปด้วยกันดินแดนความรักทุกคนไม่ยอมแพ้แค่ลุยให้รู้ไป This is the land of now Valor เรียกสตอรี่ชีวิตใหม่เดินทางสมองพัดลมในความคิด The game of the world This is my life My fun Gonna win And never give up until I die And never give up until I die Welcome to สู่ดินแดนที่ใครต่อใครปะทะดินไปเขาตีล้อมเธอเป็นแทบตายมันจะสักแค่ไหนจะปีนขึ้นมาจะไกลเท่าไรจะรอไหม Go We are the battles We are fighters กอด Some people walk away, some people want to stay. Everything is up to you, you're gonna win or gonna lose. To live is right to play, cause life is such a game. No matter what it takes, just keep on learning before you die. Welcome to Sweden, and to cry, but time in fight, could be long to spend time by. สักเท่าไรสมรภูมิสุดท้ายโลกไม่มีอะไรที่เราทำไม่ได้ Go We are the battles We are fighters ต่อขอไปด้วยกันดินแดนความรักทุกคนยอมแพ้แค่ลุยให้รู้ไป This is the plan We are better Let's go ชีวิตใหม่เดินผ่านสมองรักโลกในความคิด The game of the world This is my life, my fun. Gonna win and never give up until I die. And never give up until I die. Welcome to สู่ดินแดนที่ใครต่อใคร ปัจ
Valor Pass ระบบใหม่ที่จะนำคุณไปพบกับความลับของซีเนียลและรางวัลพิเศษมากกว่า 60 ไอเทมภายใน Valor Pass จะปรากฏคัมภีร์ 2 เล่มคือคัมภีร์แห่งการเริ่มต้นและคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ผู้เล่นสามารถปลดล็อกคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ได้ด้วยการใช้ 250 คูปองและแพ็คพิ15ลีเวลในราคา 490 คูปองผู้เล่นสามารถเพิ่มลีเวลของคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ได้ด้วยการเพิ่มค่าผลงานซึ่งจะได้รับเมื่อทำภารกิจโดยมีทั้งภารกิจรายวันและภารกิจรายสัปดาห์และสำหรับผู้ปลดล็อกคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์จะสามารถทำภารกิจพิเศษได้อีกด้วยหรือผู้เล่นสามารถเพิ่มลีเวลของคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ได้โดยการใช้คูปองจำนวน 50 คูปองต่อลีเวลผู้เล่นจะได้รับของรางวัลพิเศษเมื่อคัมภีร์ศักดิ์สิทธิ์ลีเวลอัพเช่นสกินพิเศษทิกเก็ตมอทอสเลือกรับฮีโร่1ตัวจากทั้งหมดที่กำหนดเลือกรับสกิน1สกินจากทั้งหมดที่กำหนดรูปโปรไฟล์ลิมิเต็ดสุดน่ารักเอฟเฟกต์พิเศษต่างๆภายในเกมและสกินสุดเอ็กซ์คลูซีฟ Arrival มูลาด
Your trial has ended. You can rest.
พิเศษถึงวันที่ 28 ตุลาคมนี้เท่านั้น นอกจากนี้ผู้เล่นที่มีเลเวลถึง 60 จะได้สิทธิพิเศษหมุนกงล้อแห่งโชคชะตาเพื่อรับของรางวัลพิเศษเพิ่มเติมแล้วพบกันเริ่ม 17 กันยายนนี้
I'll let my fist do the talking. It's my time to shine. I'll let my fist do the talking.
Legendary.
อย่าลืมกดติดตามเพื่อชมวิดีโอใหม่และไลฟ์สดก่อนใคร
It's my time to shine.
เอเบิลเป็นเผ่าที่คอยปกป้องพิทักษ์ผืนป่าที่ซึ่งอิฟเน็ตได้ถือกำเนิดตลอดชีวิตของอิฟเน็ตได้ฟังเรื่องราวมหัศจรรย์มากมายเกี่ยวกับโลกภายนอกผ่านการบอกเล่าของเหล่าสัตว์น้อยใหญ่เพื่อเติมเต็มความฝันอิฟเน็ตตัดสินใจออกเดินทางแม้จะมีเสียงทัดทานมากมายจากคนในเผ่าระหว่างการเดินทางอิฟเน็ตได้พบกับเผ่า Shadow Forest ซึ่งกำลังถูกรุกรานจากเหล่าอสุรกายแม้จะรักสงบแต่เขาก็ไม่อาจละทิ้งผืนป่าและพวกพ้องอิฟเน็ตตัดสินใจหยุดการเดินทางชั่วคราวผืนดินและพงไพรจะปกป้องผู้บริสุทธิ์และฝังกลบสิ่งชั่วร้าย
สวัสดีค่ะกลับมาพบกันอีกแล้วนะคะสำหรับการแข่งขัน RoV Pro League Season 2 Presented by RoV ค่ะ
การแข่งขันนะคะเข้าสู่สัปดาห์ที่ 7 แล้วค่ะพวกเขาเก็บคะแนนเพื่อเข้าสู่รอบออฟไลน์นะคะหรือรอบแชมเปี้ยนชิพของเรานะคะที่จะเกิดขึ้นในวันที่ 20 ตุลาคมนี้ค่ะทุกคน
ไปเจอกันได้นะคะที่ GMM Live House นะคะชั้น 8 ศูนย์การค้า Central World
ใช่ค่ะแล้วอย่างวันนี้นะคะการแข่งขันนะคะก็มีบุรีรัมย์ Arctic Wolf นะคะเจอกับ Toyota Diamond Crosser ค่ะเดี๋ยวขอเชิญตัวแทนเลยค่ะ
เชิญเลยค่ะ
สวัส
ก่อน
ดี
อื่น
ค่ะ
เลยแนะนำตัวก่อนเลยดีกว่าค่ะชื่ออะไรชื่อในเกมแล้วก็รับตำแหน่งอะไรในทีมคะ
สวัสดีครับผมชื่อเล่นชื่อลีโอครับชื่อในเกมโรเมโอครับตำแหน่งเลนข้างครับ
โรมิโอเจอจูเลียตหรือยังคะ
ยังครับ
เขาบอกว่าจูเลียตของเขาคือมังกร
ดาร์คสเลเยอร์
อะไรแบบนี้นะคะอย่างวันนี้เราได้มาเจอกับ Toyota Diamond Crosser นะคะซึ่งเขามีการเปลี่ยนไลน์อัพบ่อยมากเลยแล้วอย่างนี้เราจะดูทางเขาออกได้ยังไงคะมีเทคนิคอะไรดูไหมคะ
ก็จะเล่นให้กระชับที่สุดครับจะไม่ประมาทครับ
นี่เฉียบ
เห็นว่าทางบุรีรัมย์ Arctic Wolf นะคะได้มีการไปฉลองการเป็นแชมป์ของบุรีรัมย์ยูไนเต็ดเราเป็นยังไงบ้างคะในวันนั้นเล่าเหตุการณ์ให้ฟังหน่อยได้ไหมคะ
ก็วันนั้นไปร่วมฉลองแชมป์ครับแล้วก็ไปฝึกซ้อมแผนลับมาครับ
แปลว่าวันนี้จะมีแผนการใหม่ๆเกิดขึ้นใช่ไหมคะ
ใช่แล้วครับ
เราก็ต้องไปรอดูกันเนอะว่าแผนการนั้นจะเป็นแผนการอะไรเชื่อว่าตอนนี้โรมิโอนะคะน่าจะพร้อมที่จะไปเจอกับจูเลียตในเกมแล้วนะคะ ถ้างั้นเราให้เขาไปเตรียมตัวดีกว่าค่ะแล้วเราไปเจอกันในเกม
ครั้งหนึ่งเราเคยแตกต่างมุมมองต่างที่มาต่างประสบการณ์แต่วันนี้เราทุกคนต่างมีหัวใจเดียวกันโลกของ e-sports ที่ค่าของประสบการณ์ไม่ได้ถูกกำหนดด้วยอายุเพราะเราคือกีฬาที่ไม่ว่าผู้เล่นคือใครเราทุกคนต่างเท่าเทียมกันเพื่อความฝันแห่งชัยชนะที่จะดังก้องอยู่ในความทรงจำตลอดไปคุณพร้อมหรือยัง RoV Pro League Season 2 Presented by TrueMove Edge
Ooh, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the RoV Pro League week number 7. I am DT. With me is the Source. That was quite the break, but I guess you can't really blame them. They weren't really expecting that first match to be over that quickly between the number 1 and number 2 teams in the league. Bazaar obviously demolishing Alpha Red earlier today. And coming up next, we have a bit of a lesser match on the day. It's going to be, I believe it's TDC versus Buriram Arctic Wolf, as we take a look at Toyota Diamond Cobra right here. Chitawan, Best, Mr. Suns, Summer, and Snowy White. Now, the Source, these two teams, they were kind of in the thick of things as of a week or two ago, but now they've really fallen down the standings.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking to secure positioning to not be in last place. Also, I mean, it would need to be a very impressive run in the next few weeks for them. They would need to pick up back-to-back wins. This would be a start. Maybe Toyota could do it based on their points, but it would be a serious struggle, and they would need a couple of losses from the 4th and 5th place. It's not impossible, but it is unlikely.
Yeah, we can talk about those that situation right now, I suppose. So, TDC, including this match, has 3 matches left, yes. And Buriram, I believe, also... No, Buriram actually has 4 matches left. Do they have less games played?
Yes.
Buriram,
One less game played.
One less game played. So, Buriram... When you're at this stage in the standings, when you're at this point in the standings, it's hard to know whether being 1 point ahead or being 1 match behind is a better thing, right? So
mathematically, I'd say 1 match behind, because it means if Buriram were to win this match, they had the potential to pick up 2 points, being at 10 points, only being 2 behind EVOS,
right,
and being ahead in terms of matches with EVOS, or at least the same number of games played. So they'd pick up some points across the board. They'd end up at 10 and 16. It would let them close the gap.
Mathematically speaking, it works out better for Buriram to try to get back into the playoffs. Like, for instance, if Buriram were just... If for some reason IT.City Bacon found themselves in Buriram's spot, or in one of these team spot, they'd much rather be in Buriram's spot to get back to the playoffs, because they could win their way back. But based on the track record of these teams, 1 point is just as good as a match played if you look at their game records. So it's not looking too good, but regardless, they need to more or less win out in order to make the playoffs, because they are full 4 points and 5 points ahead of RRQ, who is currently in the 4th spot. But let's forget about all that. Let's get into these drafts. Valheim, Yebeneth, Grak, and Violet are pretty normal because this is Thailand, but Tara was about to confuse me. Looks like they're still choosing.
Yeah, that's a weird... I didn't know that they could hover those. Like, I didn't know we would see the hovered pick in the ban. I thought it usually just stayed blank until there was a pick. Wukong also makes very, very little sense. Xenial, not as strange.
Alright, they're going to go for the Xenial ban here. Now, Xenial hasn't really been too impactful, but certainly it can be the backbone of a death ball, where you have the Jinnar, potentially the Pure as well, and you get in there and things cause problems. Obviously, the game we just saw between Alpha Red and Bazaar kind of makes Xenial look bad, but that was mostly because Bazaar was just running circles around Alpha Red in general.
I mean, the Cricknack ban, Bazaar made Cricknack look good.
Yeah,
they made that aggressive assassin jungler look like it's a more open strategy. I think Alpha Red just wasn't ready for that kind of pace coming out from Buriram, and they just kind of caught him with their guard down.
The funny thing is that Yebeneth actually adds 1 more potential wrench in the bans, because there are plenty of heroes that could potentially be banned, and it wouldn't be strange. I would say like up to 15 or so. But there are certain heroes who are certainly starting to get banned more, that being the Chognar for the ability to block the Mina and Kresh salts, and for that reason, Mina and Kresh are banned. And Violet and Lindis are certainly up there as well. Violet probably being like one of the higher picks, higher banned heroes. And if you don't ban her, you have a specific plan. And with Yebina thrown into the mix there, it makes things very interesting. And it allows Chognar, Mina, Crushed, multiple game-changing heroes into the draft. And Buriram had the chance to pick Crushed Chognar or Mina Chognar. They go instead with the Marja.
I think we're about to see the Never Say Die composition from Buriram. I think we're about to see possibly the Nakaroth in the jungle. You just play super hot, like hyper mobile, impossible to catch. On the other side, we have what's looking like a reasonably hard engaged death ball composition. And that is when TDC just picked Malik into Marja, and we all know what that means. And if you don't know what that means, that is the single worst lane for Malik. If they don't manage to swap that lane out and kind of separate that, TDC is in a lot of trouble. From this side, I want to see Nakroth and Raz. I want to see that composition, like Chognar, Marja, Nakroth, Raz.
The thing is, we've only really seen very good Nakroths in the GCS. So
true.
Not
but
really
like,
sure.
I want to see this comp. I want to see them do that.
I'm afraid for TDC because you can't always fit Malok against the not Marja hero, and I feel like most of the teams. I mean, we saw some of the top teams fall into the same trap of playing Malok against Marja, but it feels like most teams have caught on to that fact, and certainly we have because we cast game after game after game of Marja dominating Malok. But I think that TDC might not have got the memo.
It's possible. I think people are still looking for the answer to her. And if Malik can avoid her in terms of laning, it's possible. The problem is they don't want to. Now, looking at the Ryoma, they must be like, okay, we can pick Ryoma. We can match that up against the Marja. That seems to be what people are indicating, at least within the RPL, is their answer to Marja, that poke, that aggression, that push. And then they'll pick up Liliana in the mid. I'd still like to see a Raz here from Buriram if they can play it. Otherwise, I think they're going to lean into something like a Crixie for that mid lane mage. Maybe the Jinnar. We did get to see a Jinnar last game, and I liked it. The Crash, but with
Jinnar doesn't really have the tools
with this comp, there
around
isn't
him
enough to run a Jinnar.
Yeah, the Jinnar doesn't seem like it's going to be a possibility here. The Raz, like you mentioned, Liliana getting taken away is
Natalia.
There's no real setup for it. Usually you want to run either a Grak or a Mina for that, and they did give it the Mina. They could go crazy and pick Mina anyway and just have Marja in the mid lane.
That might be a bit much.
They go for the Flash. Okay, Flash is interesting because no one can really dive in and poke with him, but it does split up the team potentially if you can dive onto the Lindis, onto the Pura potentially if she's not remaining that front line. But honestly, we haven't really seen great flashes other than Memarks, and we all know that Memarks is just a beast into himself. I mean, look at the win rate, 6 out of 13. I imagine like at least 3 of those are Memarks.
Probably. So I mean, Flash can put some pressure, but I feel like Flash is walking into a little bit of a meat grinder with Liliana to catch him going in, Ryoma to catch him going in, Pyrrha to catch him going in. It feels like there's enough threats on him, but we'll see how well the Flash is played, because just a well played Flash could create enough chaos to open things up for the side of Buriram. Otherwise, DDC, despite the Malik into the Marja, their composition, like, you avoid that, and I like their composition a little more.
Yeah, I think I like the side of Buriram here, our right-hand side. Was that Buriram? I'm getting confused now.
Yeah, Buriram was on the right.
Okay, sorry. Apologies for not paying as close attention to these teams as the top teams in the league. But I do like their team a little bit better because it's a team that thrives in chaos a bit better, and they're perfectly set up to create that chaos, right? No pun intended as far as Chognar's kit is concerned, but Chognar, he cleanses all of the CC, they don't get hit by massive stuns like the shock, and then everyone just does damage on their own. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, if Mons can Cyclone in there and split them up, there's definitely opportunity for somebody from TDC to get picked off.
Okay, a little bit slow here. Buriram on the invade as Toyota Diamond Cobra gets there a little bit faster. Looks like Omen's going to go in there. Did he tech into his first ability here? Looks like that's not going to be the case. And they're going to take a couple of camps before they get out of here. Same goes for Buriram though, so not a whole lot to choose between these two teams so far. And as I say that, they both rotate back. No, looks like TDC is going to get a little bit greedy, try to take this extra camp here, and going to get it as well. Best secures that out. So with Buriram, they don't get that monster in the bottom part of your map, that little dot you can see there. So slight lead here for Toyota Diamond Cobra, but you know, it only as long as it doesn't manifest itself in a great team fight before 4, it's no big deal.
So the Roma Marja matchup that looks to be a little bit safer, and we're seeing Omen beat up on the Malik. So it just seems like Malik, no matter what, he's just having a bad day.
Well, that's the thing that was great about Buriram's draft, right? They saw the Malik and they're like, okay, great, we're gonna pick the hardest counter, or the hero that's going to punish you the hardest. We're picking Malik here, going for that Omen, and you see Snow having to rotate over in order to make that a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, just no matter what, looks like Chidawan's not gonna have a good day. Dragon's coming back up. Good
Ooh,
engagement
Mr.
by
Suns!
Mons. A lot of damage on Mr. Suns. Chidawa comes in from the side. You've got Summer pressuring Romeo. And Mons and Joe are going to have to back up. It is a 5-man play there. So they will have a positional advantage setting up onto this Dragon. The question is whether or not June can come in here and steal this away. Romeo taking a bunch of damage. That's actually going to be a pretty big stun on them. But the spear is going to miss. It is going to go over to Best. And that, I mean, if that spear had just been spot on to try and do damage, I think it might have hit the right target.
Oh,
Mr. Suns goes in, puts in the damage, goes forward with a lot, tries to get Joe down, but meanwhile, J-Gods is taking the top tower. He will not be able to get this. The minion wave won't last long enough. So with Joe getting out of there, the Dragon being traded over to Toyota Diamond Cobras, Toyota Diamond Cobra. I don't know. I feel like J-Gods is getting the pressure he's getting. Unless they shut him down, he's eventually like that Dragon Gold is going to even out.
Yeah, I do feel like Buriram lost a couple of opportunities here. First, J-Gods exited the wave a little bit too early, didn't realize that 5 had rotated over. And also, they could have gotten the steal if they were a little bit faster, especially because of the stun, that the 4-man stun that the Dragon got onto the members of TDC there. So, a little bit of lost opportunities there. Buriram playing slightly passive, but at the same time, they're not dying, so that's kind of okay. Romeo finally is able to pick up that Ghost Walk, so potentially we'll get out of there of this fine. Use it to clear the minion wave. Looks like it's going to work out. Minion and his buddies rotate over from Team Bra.
Yeah, some good protection to balance that out. But again, eventually this Omen is gonna get the job done. The Malik is unable to really do anything, and once that dam breaks in top, the question would be like how far. Question would be is how far can J-Gods push forward, and how much is Buriram going to invade into that blue side jungle to protect him? We do see 2 members of TDC heading up there to put some pressure onto the Omen, but like if he doesn't, oh, like, he just walked in a bush, he's dead. Is he?
Yeah,
Stunned, dead, flickered,
yeah,
stunned, dead.
Yep, it's going to go down. Actually uses the Death Embrace there, but unfortunately for J-Gods, the aggro from the tower was going into Chidawan and not onto the Liliana. This seems like really poor rotations on both sides. TDC looked like they got nothing done by rotating 2 to the bot side where Marja had it covered, and then Buriram just gave the favor back to them by rotating 4 to meet the 2 and then also getting nothing done. So it looks like just really poor rotations, not taking advantage of the pressure that J-Gods is putting onto Chidawan. If J-Gods gets killed like that by 3 players, there better be something happening on the other side of the map, and that wasn't the case.
I mean, technically they got the Dragon, but that's only after TDC was able to get the tower. So still advantage TDC, and you're right, it was too slow of a response. Now Answering back, there's a wave pushed up, but it's mostly on this jungle invade onto the blue, looking to catch somebody out in rotation. Now we've got TDC waiting off on this brush, maybe gonna put pressure on the Mons. Joe is nearby, Toon is there as well. Chidowan walks into the bush, starts to take some damage. Mons goes in, but does not pop the Cyclone. Takes a bit of damage, gets stunned out. He's instantly Cyclone, so he's just gonna have to get himself out of there. Chidowan used the shock, went underneath the tower. Joe is there, slowing them down, but they don't have the damage. They don't have enough to really get anything done here. Marja comes in, uses the Ghost Walk, 3-man stun. In comes the Wailing Blade, some pressure from the Spectral Ire. Summer manages to make that happen, but no kills go through. Tower lost, so at the end of the day, a tower trade back and forth. Gold lead stays the same. J-Gods, I don't really think you want this. Throws down the Death's Embrace, puts some pressure onto Best. There's going to be 4 people down there, and J-Gods basically sacrificed himself. If Snow manages to get off a stun, nope, minions were in the way. He'll survive momentarily, but it seems like Buriram so far, they're just not playing this that coordinated.
They're responding to TDC rather than being proactive themselves, and it's really costing them. They're letting these towers die because they're just letting TDC run all over them, and there's just no pressure onto the other side of the map. Mons takes a bunch of damage, whereas the damage onto TDC? There's none there. So, yeah, just playing very, very passively, but I feel like the fact that their draft was a little bit better, that's the only reason why they're still in this game. Only down 1,000 gold when they've been out-rotated throughout the entirety of this game.
Yeah, I mean, J-Gods is trying to keep them in this, but it is going to become a little bit of a problem. Joe is going to get hit by the Reiki shot. Snow now starting to take a little bit of damage. In comes J-Gods. They will be able to pick up that kill. Ghost walk forward. Mr. Sun's under a lot of pressure. Gets slowed down. Best will fall. That's going to be the double buff being traded out. Toon under a bit of pressure. Chidowan goes in for the shot, but perfectly timed. They managed to get that stun off, and Romeo is doing massive work in combination with J-Gods. They will be able to trade out. One Cyclone is used. Chidowan, if he gets a good cleave, that could be the death of somebody, but Joe and Mons will juke him out, and the members of Buriram will now spread back out over the course of the map. Toon will pick up Dragon, an advantage turning in favor of Buriram. They are now about 1,000 gold ahead.
Very good splitting of the focus there from Buriram, making sure that they get out and relay those heroes right back in and out of the fights at the right time. On the other hand, poor targeting from TDC, not getting that out. But yeah, you see how Buriram's composition can really work in a team fight, because everything was so chaotic there. You had members from Toyota Diamond Cobra running away because there's too much damage on the front, and Buriram finally, when they're able to put something coordinated together, they can get things done.
I also think we're starting to see the builds reach good points for them. Romeo's got the he's finally got his Barris Agony, and he's starting to build into a bit more damage. You've got the finished Fafnirs onto J-God, so a couple of key items coming in for these guys, and that will let them start to deal with some of those health bars.
Yeah, speaking of which, Tome of the Reaper just picked up here from Romeo, so that's going to be a huge factor in shutting down Snow in these upcoming team fights. See how that works out there, because the Pure has been a really big deal in allowing them to do so well. But another tower goes down. That is 3 for the side of Toyota Diamond Cobra. In comes the Spear, not going to get land. Looks like there's going to be a Death's Embrace on the Best, taking a lot of damage, gets the Wind Embrace. Big Cyclone comes through, as well as the Nature's Rally, but not going to be enough to keep them alive. Many members of Buriram Arctic Wolf low, but that doesn't matter because they're killing the side of Toyota Diamond Cobra, and 4 fall for 0.
Perfectly timed, but Summer waiting in this brush, looking for an opportunity, looking for a target.
Summer
thinks better of it. Is looking for Joe. Pinwheels over the wall. Gonna run into him. Hits with the Naginata Jutsu. Uses the Wailing Blade, but that's your boy J-Gods. He's got everything he needs. Mons is there to cut off the retreat. Toon will pick up the kill. Wave into the bottom. That is going to be a delayed ace for the side of Buriram. They should be able to easily drop one more outer tower in the mid lane as Romeo pushes up that wave, and things starting to fall apart for the side of TDC. If they get caught here, Best gets found. I think you have to accept that this is going over to the other side. Toon grab that buff, and they can, again, just keep the rotation, make their way around the horn, go coast to coast, and clear out pretty much everything, all the waves, every single minion, and be able to get themselves an additional tower. Now we've got Joe stepping forward onto Chidowan. Chidowan throws out a cleave, walks away. 3 members of the side of TDC aren't anywhere near the vicinity, so they have to instantly retreat.
Buriram really finding the stride here, finding what they were trying to accomplish. Their early game rotations weren't very on point there, but They're starting to get things going here now, as Joe's being a nuisance to the opposing team and really zoning out this area of the map so they can get more done. And whereas we saw Buriram with terrible rotations before and just minions pushing against them all over the map, it's going to be the opposite here. Minions pushing in, and they take this fight. They go in with the Chaos Protection, going to be protecting against that Nature's Rally. In comes the Shock to be able to do stuff, but Ghostwalk's going to be there instead. Mr. Sun's going to go down as well. Some are trying to get some done, but not going to get enough onto Romeo, and he's going to stay alive. He's going to be able to run away, and Toon able to stun out, able to get the kill with the help of Romeo there, and Arctic Wolf is running all over TDC now.
Yeah, there's so much value in their zone control with their slows between the Chognar, between the Marja. Once you start stepping forward, it becomes a problem, and that's before Toon manages to land a pretty good spear onto Chitawan and set all of that up. So as the fight goes on, it gets harder and harder for you to survive. And instead of Buriram, they're starting to get their composition where it needs to be to do significant damage, to bring significant amounts of pressure. Toon will pick up the Sigil
Dark
of
Blessing.
the Dragon. Dark Blessing. There we go.
It was on the screen.
No, it wasn't. Don't lie to me. Anyways, Dark Blessing picked up by him, so he's going to be even more difficult for them to deal with. And the items are starting to come in. The Slims is basically full build and pretty much late game marksman stage is working on what I think is going to be his Blade of Eternity. And after that, he's just, he's got too many lives to deal with.
Looks like they're going to try to push in these waves and get something done. Slim's picking up the buff there is kind of a big deal if he wants to take a team fight there, because the red buff is going to be able to slow members down. But looks like they're going to go for the Dark Slayer, regardless of the fact that they have that Abyssal Curse in them, and it does only 50% damage, because Toon, as it turns out, just has enough damage to allow this to happen. Romeo just going to be the tank here for a moment here, using that Ghost Walk to make sure he doesn't take too much damage, and they're going to be barreling down onto DDC. Only about 15 seconds left on the Abyssal buff, but that's okay because they have the Dark Slayer heal buff on their side, as well as that Dragon looking to push in on this top tower. All 5 members here from TDC trying to hold on here. Big Cleave comes out, but not quite enough at the moment, as Summer has to run away. Chidawan's taking a lot of damage himself. Can't stay here at all. In comes Mons, tries to get the Mach Punch off. Toon getting extremely low, but he has that Dark Blessing. That's why he was so aggro onto the situation. The Drake still getting the damage onto the tower, and looks like Buriram is going to back off.
Unfortunately, the timing on that for Buriram wasn't good enough. J-Gods was way too far out. They hadn't gotten the wave prepped on that. They could have waited to drop the dragon for the wave to be prepped, and then J-Gods could have easily taken a free high ground. Instead, they did it a little too slowly. It doesn't really work out, but they've got waves showing up now. They can continue to set up the pressure. Toon is a little bit alone, throws out a spear, doesn't connect on the Summer. You've got Mr. Sun stepping forward onto Romeo. That might have been a little presumptuous to think that that was going to work out, but they are maintaining their high ground defense, and TDC hasn't lost yet. But it is starting to look dire. Sun goes in, out comes the Reiki shot, doesn't get stunned up. Chidawan steps forward, Toon very, very low. Mont into the back line, using the Cyclone, looking for Snow, is going to actually flicker. Looks to try and get Best, but doesn't decide to stay in there and finish him. Summer will go down. Chidawan gets off the shock, putting pressure onto Toon. A Cleave is there, but he doesn't have the damage. He's not tanky enough to survive. Minions are continuing to pour towards the enemy base, and looks like Buriram will be able to take their first high ground tower. Mr. Sun's not feeling confident enough to step up to that. And now we will see them rotate to the top, continue to pressure the mid. This just looks like a slow grind out for the side of Buriram to bring themselves the victory.
Yeah, especially with these towers extremely low here. As you can see, even the mid tower is dying to just that minion, or the siege minion there. In comes the Cyclone, down goes Best, out goes Mons here, but he's going to die regardless. Snow trying his best to hold onto this mid tower, but he's going to pay with it for his life and not even be able to save the tower. All towers gone here for Toyota Diamond Corvette, and that is going to be game.
Little bit sloppy at the start, but once they got the ball rolling down the hill, they didn't really they didn't let it get off course. I'd say so much of that's on Toon getting as fed as he did and getting to the point at which he did in the late game, especially after missing out on that second, or was that second or first dragon? That was first dragon.
I think it was the first dragon where they had a bit of a poor rotation, but able to get the dragon anyway. Taking a look at our score screen, Toon, as you mentioned, 707, 16.3.
Toon, Romeo, and J-Gods. J-Gods kept him in that game in that kind of weird time period, Romeo had a really good play towards that mid-team fight, and Toon did a just incredible job of surviving to the point where the fight went really long, and then it turned into kind of the Toon Romeo show. But I do want to give J Gods
This
like
fight
this
right here.
this fight right here. This is all about Toon and Romeo. Toon staying just outside, Romeo stepping forward, putting pressure on the Suns. Even after
Oh, look
Suns
at
gets
Toon.
away, they get that other kill, and Toon is super low. And then it's all about Romeo keeping pressure from Summer, stopping the Romeo from really getting anything done. Both Toon and Toon and Romeo survive, and then we get another good team fight. This one was J Gods. That was all about J Gods.
They all had 1 health at the end of that fight, and this is pretty much the same situation. Did anyone die in this fight?
No, they kept everybody alive, and then Summer hid in the bush and then died. This is the setup from Toon off of a pretty good spear, and then just good coordinated team play. I don't really feel like Chillon got anything done. Malik into Chognar.
I think Joe did a very good job initiating these team fights as well, just kind of getting in there and taking a lot of the damage as Chognar, getting the chaos protection against a lot of these shocks here. So I think they did really well as a team in team fights. It's just that their rotations in the early game were very poor, and if they're playing against a better team, that can definitely be taken advantage of.
Yeah, definitely easy to punish their timing. And I honestly want to say, until they got to like this stage of the game, they were pretty indecisive about what they actually wanted around the map.
Yeah. Also, it has to be said that they completely outdrafted Buriram, and they were just playing tentative. They were rotating them around the map to match their opponents, and once they got a team fight, it was over because they just had a better they had a better comp. Well, game number 1 goes over to Buriram, and like we mentioned, they are the team that has 1 less series played than TDC. So theoretically, they have the better chance to try to get in the playoffs. It is a long road ahead, or maybe not a long road, but a steep road ahead to try to catch up to RRQ, who is currently now 4 points ahead of them in the standings. But one more win here, and they'll be pretty close, or at least close enough to get that comeback with 3 matches remaining.
Yeah, gotta close the gap. And based on that, they're at 13 points. They have RRQ has 3 games left. Although I guess one of
they play each other
earlier today.
They play each other.
They play each other. So that the third, that's gonna be a map. Honestly, though, RRQ has to play Alpha Red. In theory, they have to play their rescheduled game against IT.City Bacon, and then they play Buriram. Like,
that's comebackable.
RRQ could lose all those series. Buriram takes this game against TDC. They beat RRQ, and then they have. Honestly, this looks really good. Holy crap! They have to play SNC.
Well, that's the great thing about this setup, right? Is that not only can you beat a team ahead of you, you can really crush them by making them get 0 points. So if Buriram when Buriram plays RRQ, they're not only looking to win, they're looking to win 2-0 to come back all the way there.
But like this looks good for a Buriram comeback. All they have they close this out against TDC. They 2-0 RRQ, and then they have to play the worst team in the league. Whereas RRQ has to play better teams.
That said, they're still behind EVOS as well. So
That's true. But like, just to catch up to RRQ, things look good. EVOS is a little bit.
EVOS plays the worst team in the league, and then Bacon and Bazaar. So
yeah,
that's almost a guaranteed 1 and 2 in series. Because they're going to beat SNCK, but they're almost certainly going to lose to Bacon and Bazaar.
Yeah, so like this looks good for Buriram to make the comeback. Buriram wins all their games. They'll end at 15, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. They'll end at 14 points.
Yeah.
So they need EVOS to not get more than 2 more points.
No, they can get 16 because they have 3 matches after this.
I thought they had 3 including this. Let me check.
Or am I crazy? Hold on.
Bra.
4. There's 4.
No, you're right. So yeah, they can get 16 points. Honestly, schedule-wise, if every match were to go
schedule-wise,
schedule-wise, this looks good for Buriram.
But they need to play well.
They need to take game 2 here. yeah, they need to play well, and it starts with taking game 2.
Well, let's see if they can do it. They have the exact same band from last game coming up from Buriram. And interestingly enough, Toyota decides to pick first once more. They started out last game with Lindis. They've actually banned their own Lindis out this time. And all the other marksmen while they're at it. So, what are they going to pick? This seems like this game has to involve some sort of assassin jungler. But we'll see. Fennec is on the board. You could see some crazy Talanis, teamy jungling shenanigans. We'll have to see. Gonna start off with a Chognar, and I certainly understand he was causing problems for them last game.
Yeah. It just...
Here we go. Yorn jungle!
A hard Yorn pick.
First pick Yorn, let's go.
I don't know about that Zephy's.
Yeah, Zephys has not been very good in these leagues. Just not quite, doesn't quite have the mobility that you need, even though his cooldowns are like -1 second, but just not quite the ability to get in there and kill like Crickneck, Murid, and Necroth.
If you have the damage to kill them, you won't survive long enough to do it. That's the problem with Zephyr. And that's weird because you would think that his passive would let him. But that is completely not what they were hovering in the slightest, and I like it a lot more.
Yeah, the Xenial and Marja locks in those extremely potent side laners. Xenial can be played as a support, but if I had my druthers, I'd go
I mean,
against
all the marksman junglers are banned with the exception of Fennec, and at that point, like,
just
your comp is super balanced. Like, you could go the Fennec, but you could also go the Nakroth or the Maraud. So I'm kind of fine with this comp from Buriram.
All right,
and
TDC picks up the Fennec. I don't mind the Fennec if they really need to go marksman jungler, because that's the only true one left unless you're doing something crazy. So I'm okay with this here from TDC locking in that Fennec. But we'll have to see, because part of the reason why Fennec has such a low win rate in this league is because it's enforced on teams like we see here. Whereas in the GCS, for instance, it's picked willingly, which is why the win rates are almost polar opposites. It's like 70% to 30-something percent. In any case...
I'd say...
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd say the other advantage, because the GCS is just... They're better on rotations, and TDC's rotations weren't that good, and Fennec is all about showing up to that tower when no one's there.
Yep. Well, we'll see if they're able to take advantage of that. Third side laner comes in here from Buriram, so almost certainly going to be seeing the Xenial in that support role, which he's okay, I suppose, but it does take it away from the other side, so there's that. In comes the Liliana as well, who... I like it for Buriram because it feels like the Flash was a forced pick. Like, I don't know, there's nothing else to pick here, so they do go for the Liliana. I would expect to see a bit more comfortableness on the Liliana here from Buriram.
Yeah. I'd also say that with the way their composition is set up, the timing of Buriram's like fight potential, they actually do pretty good at that level 4 power spike. They get a lot of team fight capability from that. So that Lubu, okay.
Haven't seen Lubu in a while, but he's always been a pretty strong side laner. I want to see kind of how this goes. I don't think he doesn't really win against either Omen or Marja, but he's not going to get demolished either, and we're going to have a jungle wisp. Let's go.
Oh dear oh man, Buriram, I want you to lose now. Like, oh god, I don't want you to win with jungle wisp. Like, from like every fiber of my being hates that decision, but okay, so this only works in one world.
In the Buriram world.
Okay, this only works with one build. They have to go. I'm trying to think of how best to do this.
I think the source just got diarrhea. He's like,
Please don't use. Okay, so please don't go Scorching Wind. For the love of God, don't go Scorching Wind. If they go Scorching Wind, I'm gonna be really tilted. Like, just so freaking tilted because it's just like the attack speed is like, no, you will get away with the attack speed if you have nothing but war boots and her the stim on her one. Like, that attack speed stim is fine. You're probably gonna need to go crit build, and you're gonna go into your Slick Sting anyway. But like, for the love of God, do not go Scorching Wind. Oh, I'm so.
You're already mad about it, and it hasn't.
I'm already mad about it. I mean, the rest of their composition is great. The Wisp is like, if they do it, the Wisp didn't matter. It was about the rest of the composition giving the Wisp the opportunity to just do damage.
You're already establishing that. In any case, we're gonna have an invade here coming in from TDC.
Wait, they're gonna give up a kill? Oh no, they aren't. They're gonna defend that.
Yeah, in the bottom lane, it's or in the bottom half of the map, looks like there's a bit of trouble here, and Chitawan actually able to steal out the red buff. And already, it's looking like the source's prediction is pretty good, because a jungler should be able to steal that from the opposing side when the opposing jungler is not there.
Problem is that I'm assuming Wisp took Dash at level 1, so like they just got scared. They just got scared of the arm on the defense, and they're like, that's an arm. If we fight into that, we're gonna die. It's gonna set them behind by a buff because the timing wasn't good enough on it, and I think they should have.
That's poor planning.
Realized Arm was I think they should have realized Arm was a dangerous person to evade up against.
Right, and if they knew that, if they were committing to either they needed to defend, or they needed to have Mons go with the team and try. And if they have Mons and Toon, then they can get Arm to get out of there.
I think Toon made a mistake and accidentally bought boots because Toon has not finished whatever his jungle item is, unless he's not actually planning on building it and is just planning on going directly into his war boots.
Mr. Suns and Rhea go into 4. That's just no fear from them. Going in there, Joe has a Malleus out. Rhea taking a lot of damage, going to pop the heal. The Thief Smart going on to J-Gods, but he's going to be following anyway. Uses the Flicker to get out of there. Joe actually gets out. Toon falls, and so does Mr. Suns.
Can they get best?
Oh my god, going on to best. Oh, the damage coming in from Romeo. Just one more. The auto attack's in there. And there is the Shining Light to finally take him out. What a bloody start to our game here. Oh my goodness.
Backed by Buriram. I thought that was going to go very much against them. Yeah, so rush to the war. I'm really on this Wisp jungle. I'm going to be talking about it all game. But no, that was really good. And it was really good response from Buriram. I thought it was over aggressive for them to take that fight, but it ended up working out for them. We've got Romeo like keeping track of Chitawan. If you get the right members from the side of Buriram to rotate into this, like, Romeo's not in any real trouble. Joe is now going to show up. Doesn't have his level 4, so that's going to be no Angelic Splendor, but Best shows up in time. Is a Fennec, so he takes that for free. And God, Toon, your build is tilting me, man. There's still plenty of action where you're taking some damage from Mons. Mons having that blue buff is going to be able to keep himself pretty much topped off and take as many aggressive fights as he wants. And it's Scorching Wind. Okay. Oh god, this tilts me so hard. So first off, finished War Boots, didn't go directly into the Scorching Wind. Big mistake, missed out on 3 camps worth of stacks. Then went into Scorching Wind because people in the RPL really believe in the attack speed build up, but you get enough attack speed off of your steroid plus your War Boots that you don't need it until you're building attack speed crit off Slick Sting, which is what I was saying before. But Chitawan is going to use the Death's Embrace, or Chitawan gets hit with the Death's Embrace, counters back with the Snare. Best is now there. Angelic Splendor. Out comes the ultimate from Toon. So much damage from Best, and you cannot stop that uncaged. You max that, it does 1,000 damage per lion stomp, and Toon just had a bad day at the circus, got eaten by the lions at the zoo. Mon's now in a little bit of pressure, but is actually answering back to the Suns. The power surge misses. now
no,
really
that
needs
was
to
a
get out of
juke.
there.
That juke was next level. That was perfect timing on that juke. That was amazing from Mons there. But yeah, Mons trying to make something happen here. But Tomb standing in the Thief's Mark and taking damage from Best. That's not where you want to be. Your health isn't what you think it is. It is going to go bye-bye if that Thief's Mark explodes. And explode it did, followed by that Engage like you mentioned, which brought him down in the end. And Toons is not the player he was in the first game, and really letting a team down at the moment.
I wish I could see how far the jungle items is stacked. We do see Suns go in. The buff is going to land on him. Power Surge back, slows down, stops Romeo from getting in there. Joe looking for an angle, cannot find it, re-steps forward, and is able to just kind of Chognar his way to victory, and nobody really wants to engage on him. Summer now starting up the Abyssal Dragon. This is going to go over to TDC. There are not enough members of Buriram to come over and answer this, and I mean, this feels like we're inching closer and closer to a game 3. The gold lead is not that far, but it doesn't seem like Buriram have a lot of answers.
Buriram technically has the late game, although that you always say that when you're falling behind, right? But looks like they're coming in with the Angelic Splendor, going to keep these members alive. In comes the Thief's Mark onto Romeo. Mr. Sun's in a bit of trouble, going to try to use the Power Surge to get him out of there, but Flicker in by Mons, going to take him out with the Foxtrot there. Romeo holding on barely onto this bottom tower somewhere very low, so can't really pursue that. He's going to have to go back. J-Gods off against Chidowan. In comes the Uncage. Does he have the snare available? He didn't decide to use it there. And Best just walks away from 4 like no big deal. I'm a Fennec. I can jungle pretty fast.
Yeah. Easily secure as many camps as humanly possible. Toon, what are you gonna show me? What are you gonna show me as your third item? I swear to God, if you build a rank breaker,
Do
just
it.
don't.
Do it. Do it, Toon.
No.
Build the
no.
rank breaker. Do it.
Do not build a rank breaker. I swear to freaking God, go into a Muramasa. You will like.
You
at
have
this
something
point,
against rank breaker. I like the
mathematically. No. Rank breaker is good. Like up until 10 minutes. At around 10 minutes, people start to build up enough armor on leveling that I find that rank breaker just doesn't match up, and I would rather just build the Muramasa for value, but that's a lot of damage on the Suns. He's going to be able to get himself out of there. Tower will go down. Best was able to get the snare onto Joe. He will be finished off the Angelic Splendor. No, that was just a big AoE circle. What was that? No, that was Angelic Splendor.
Yeah, he tried to get away.
Yeah, he started it. It didn't end up going through. Spirit Sentinel
Romeo
should be picked up by
Mons?
Best. Romeo is showing up now. They managed to catch him. They managed to stun him. That's going to be the double buff transfer onto Toon. Definitely needed that kill. Now they might be able to set up a siege. 3 members in mid. Lumu not rotating in. And with the Wisp, they're going to use the ultimate to zone. Gives them some opportunity to step up. That's actually a really good way to play that engagement. And they will take the tower. They got to Power Surge, but he'll be fine.
Toon finally coming online here. Looks like he was building into the Clavis Sancte last time I checked. I'm going to go ahead and take out this Abyssal Dragon at the moment here, as top tower does go down as well. Are they going to get caught? Speaking of Romeo and Mons there, both very mobile, very slippery, but 3 people on the chase here. In the meantime, J-God's taking a lot of damage, going to flicker out, and Romeo could get away, but gets caught. Going to go down, and that is a double kill on the side of Mr. Suns on that split screen in your left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, that was a good collapse by the side of TDC to answer while things were going on in the bottom half of the map. They'll also be able to get the tower, so that will give them a slight gold lead. I really want to see this build. If it's Clavis Sancti, oh thank God. Oh, thank God. There's a part of me that was about to get really tilted. So he's going for full crit build. That additional attack speed dagger is going to Slick Sting. But if you're going into Slick Sting and you have War Boots and a steroid on your 1, you don't need the Scorching Wind. All right, I'm done.
Just tilt the source even more and go Devil's Handshake for all the attack speed. Let's do it.
Oh God, I would just be so unhappy.
I think I just made him have an aneurysm.
At this point, the Wisp is actually reaching that point where it can make sense. But Suns, with that play, the Angelic Splendor was there, but it wasn't enough. Romeo, she manages to survive and get the kill and walk away over aggression by Summer. Mons looking at an interesting angle. I think the snare was used over the mid. Definitely at Death's Embraces. J-God has that down, so they were able to get that kill there. The chase through the jungle is going to be slowed down, but it doesn't matter. It looks like the members of Buriram are barreling going down mid. Shockanaw comes out. They use a Chaos Protection to get themselves out of there. Mr. Sun's taking additional damage. Toon is starting to chunk people, is getting to the point where those crits can come through, and all it takes is 1 or 2 that does look like it's going to be the slick thing to kind of match out the rest of that crit build, and then we'll build into some late game armor penetration, probably the Muramasa, finished by a Blade of Eternity if we do see Toon get that far into the build. Next step, probably for them, continue to pressure up into mid. I don't know whether or not... Okay, no, the Enraged Abyssal Dragon comes up.
Well, they're gonna get this normal Abyssal Dragon first, and then...
Oh, I thought that was Enraged. It's not 10 minutes.
Well, they can wait 10 seconds, and it's gonna come back. So there's that.
Genius!
Well, speaking of which, Darkslayer is going to be taken here by TDC. So if I'm Buriram, I match that by going bots here. Looks like they are not hanging around that area, which gives TDC themselves a bit to do something here. Joe takes the snare, but not enough damage here on the side of TDC to make that happen. But Rie might be caught out here. Looks like he's going to go ahead and get away. Toon doing a lot of damage. In our split screen, we see a duo coming on over there. It looks like it's going to be Angelic Splinter coming in from Joe to try to push this in. The aggressive Romeo Ghost Walk in is going to be able to take them out, and that is a desperation Drake if I've ever seen one, as it's probably going to get taken out. No, they're going to go aggressive onto this tower in the bot lane, seeing the opportunity to get that split push in. Potentially could get this high gun tower, but they decide to back off.
I mean, TDC lost a lot when they used the ultimate from Chitawan on Joe and didn't have everybody there to instantly kill him. Like, that was a major oversight that cost him over the course of that team fight, because then Toon's like, well, what's gonna pressure me right now? Summer's not in a position to do so. Mr. Sun is eating a bunch of free damage. Rie will take some damage there. Chaos Protection is used to get them out of there. A little bit of slow comes out from Summer. J-Gods is looking at Chitawan, is gonna get snared up, gets hit with the Uncage, additional damage coming in, manages to flicker to the side, but finished off by the Thieves Mark. Good play there by Best. Close that out, and I mean, wasted time from the side of Buriram. They got a little over aggressive.
Yeah,
and
J-Gods, I don't really know why he was taking that fight. Didn't really make sense for him to be there when his team was not quite in the vicinity. Joe's gonna go ahead and try to take a fight with Mr. Suns. He is a support though, like an actual support. He hasn't been playing the side lane this game, so not enough farm to be able to take this fight here. Mr. Sun's going to pursue it, but not after that shining light comes through. Now, what has been carrying Buriram thus far in this game, at least from the late early game to the mid game-ish that is right now, is that Toon is just not getting touched. There's nothing to really touch him. Summer needs to either dive on him, or Mr. Suns needs to dive on him, or something like Ray needs to go there, but just not able to get the damage. And if Wisp is untouched, she has one of the highest damage in the game. Speaking of which, Ray is going to go down, most likely to the Death's Embrace, I believe. Romeo's continuing to pursue this. Mons and Romeo on the chase, and the rest of the team is coming in as well. The slow from Joe comes in there, and that is enough for Toon to finish him off. Down 2 goes Chitawan, and this could just be game right here because of the massive damage coming out from Toon here. The shock and awe is there, but the mini waves are not.
I mean, this is late game Wisp. Here's the thing. I want Wisp to be good. But
do you?
Passive,
you were so mad earlier.
No, I want Wisp as a character to be good, but the passive makes me hate the character.
No, don't. It's fine. Don't
passive
hate the devs. Don't hate the character.
Passive makes me despise the character. So that's why I know exactly what Toon is building. That's why I knew exactly what Toon was going to do, because I've looked through, tried to figure out how you make Wisp good, and you basically, in my opinion, can't.
Toon is by herself, by the way. I don't think so. And they can't even catch up to her. They can't even catch up.
They can't. And the rest of the team from Buriram is super far ahead. That's going to be another good stun on the Best. Pressure from Summer. Summer will be finished. Oh, no. We'll get a heal out there. Chitawan needs to back up. And Reiki shot is out. My point is that Toon, if Toon was a different marksman, still would be in the same situation, because it's the way the team played around it. I think so. I think with a lot of other marksmen, it would still be
with maybe a Yorn, because that's the other marksman that does this much damage. But speaking of damage, Toon's gonna get very, very low, but they finish off Summer before he's able to dive there, and they have no other dive characters to get to him, and that was as close as you're going to see Toon go down, because they really have nothing to get on top of him. And yeah, I disagree. Wisp does ridiculous damage, probably the highest damage in the game.
She can.
I would say
She
the
can.
highest damage in the game if you consider the fact
But-
that she can do AoE crits. The only person who can really match her is Yorn. So, yeah. In any case, they are
My
doing
point
great.
is in that last moment, what kept Toon alive? The team.
Yeah, but that's how you're supposed to do it regardless of the
But
marksman.
my point is we've seen a lot of marksmen not be fully protected by the team, and
And they were all banned.
true. It's gonna take me a while to be okay with this jungle wisp. It's gonna take me a while, so give me some time. But
in
you see
Angelic
Ray
Splendor,
taking some damage.
Shock and Awe. Oh, Mr. Sun's trying to get on Toon, trying to do that, but isn't going to be enough, and Toon's not going to be close to dying. Summer's going to go in there and try to get the... He actually does a ton of damage, but not enough in the end, as all members are still alive. In comes a great Death Beck, and they're going to pull 2 members in. Ria's going to go down. So too does... Who is that? Best, and this looks like it's going to be the end.
Looks like this is all she wrote. Even if Chitawan could make something happen, it would need to be the god play, and Buriram will bring this down in a little bit more convincing fashion, I think, than the last game. Once it felt like the snowball accelerated a fair bit faster with this. They did a good job of getting Toon to the late game. Toon ended up with that full build.
You know what I think won that game?
Don't say it.
Wisp passive.
Those
bombs.
passive.
Those bombs.
I think
on
it
the
only
ground.
got it. Did it get value in the first fight? Did who is it?
Oh,
Somebody died in the first fight.
right.
Did it?
Maybe, because she was in the middle of that fight. I actually want to see that again.
I honestly don't know.
It's
if the
possible.
deck-
It's possible.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It didn't get value in that first little scuffle between Fennec and Wisp, but it might have later on.
It might have.
Wait, how does the support get MVP when it's a Zen? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, Zenio took a lot of damage. Got that
At the end of
nice
the day,
30%.
Buriram played well. I still believe you could slot other things in there. Granted, it had to come from the jungle, so it's a little bit different.
No, yeah, honestly, okay. I think that it was either Wisp or Yorn if you just wanted to maximize.
No,
damage.
they were definitely pushed down to a limited number of choices. But what I'm saying is, if you don't have a limited number of choices,
No.
I still think they get the same kind of result without a Wisp.
Okay, no, I'm saying even if they had every single marksman available to them, I'm saying that Wisp and Yorn were the best choices there if they wanted to maximize damage and they weren't worried about the other team being able to dive on Wisp because they weren't able to.
That is fair. That is fair. I will more than happily concede that point. Oh god, I knew every step of that build. And I just got
Scorching Wind is just too good of an item. What can you?
Either way, what was good out of Buriram was the decisiveness. Once they found opportunities, they didn't. Again, I want to see better macro out of Buriram. I think that's their biggest issue. Their team fighting's pretty good. They have a pretty good sense of how to team fight, how to split up targets, especially how to protect the Slims, how to protect the Wisp. They do a good job of keeping that marksman alive out of the jungle. Whether or not their early game is that clean, especially like what we saw with the invades, but definitely a good setup from Buriram, and now we'll see whether or not they can kind of keep that going.
Yep. Looks as you see the standings here, they do go up a decent amount. They are still behind EVOS and RRQ, but like we detailed before, EVOS and RRQ are going against some stiff competition, and Buriram absolutely has the ability to catch up to them in these last 2 weeks of the season. Sponsor Neolation Cool Kids, I believe they're mathematically eliminated just looking at the fact that they're down 8 points, even though they have technically enough weeks to come back. The fact that the other teams play each other and someone has to get points means that that's not going to.
There is not a scenario mathematically where they can do it. Even if they won all their matches, it's impossible for every team to lose everything. So
yeah,
they might be able to get out of last place.
Well, that's certainly possible, but not looking likely, especially when they're losing pretty badly to even the teams in the middle of the league. So that said, we still have the fact that our top teams in the league are doing extremely well, and now the top has received a bit of a change You probably missed it if you are in the chat right now because our first match was so quick. But Bazaar absolutely demolished Alpha Red, our former #1 team in the league. Looks like they have a bit of an interview with Buriram. But we're going to actually get out of here right now. And if you want to watch more RPL action, it's funny, our viewers just kind of went up in the last little bit. Fortunately, we're getting out of here. I think that Americans are waking up. Europeans are getting off work. In any case, so make sure you tune in tomorrow around the same time. Actually, earlier than this time.
I mean, make sure you just tune in for the next 15 straight days, because back to back it is, and it's great scheduling wise. Back to back, it is the RPL and the GCS every day from now to the 15th.
Yep,
and they don't overlap at all.
And the best 3 teams of the RPL are in action tomorrow. First match is likely to be a bit of a stomp between Alpha Red and SNCK. That said, Alpha Red didn't look too good today, so that's important for them to bounce back. And then we have our new marquee matchup, Bazaar Gaming versus IT.City Bacon, the 2 teams who are 2 and 3 in the league, or 1 and 3, however you want to look at it. But they both recently beat Alpha Red, who is our former #1 team in the league, and that is going to be a doozy. And IT.City Bacon wants to get revenge for the loss in the early parts of the season. They are the defending champs, and I would say those are, it's without question, the 2 best teams in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're all 9-2. Alpha Red, Bazaar Gaming, and IT.City Bacon. The only thing that separates them, IT.City Bacon is behind by a point. Bazaar Gaming is up by 2 less losses. So right now, Bazaar Gaming is the #1, even though it shows them tied because of the way the point standings go. But if the season were to end right now, Bazaar Gaming would be #1, Alpha Red would be #2, and IT.City Bacon would be #3. And we'll see whether or not that changes tomorrow.
Yep. Well, I'm just wondering who's going to win between those 2. I don't even care if it's 2-1. I just want to see who is wearing the daddy pants between those 2 teams.
I think it might be Bazaar.
Yeah, they looked really good today. They look really good today.
Like, that looked like that reminded me of J Team's play. It wasn't as calculated, but it was about as ruthless.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous there. But make sure you go ahead and turn into that. If you miss these games, you can check out the VODs, or you can go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/D2HS. Everything I have is D2HS. But see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.